How you guys doing?
Great.
All right. Thank you for all showing up tonight. This is a monumental event. This is the first time that we have a format that is something unique and we'll be able to interact with the audience, and then we have panelists, and then we have a deep subject that people can talk about and share your innermost thoughts, which is all what you guys wanted to do, right? Nah, but it's gonna happen. So again, thank you for showing up. Thank you for whoever's watching. But in order for us to get this road on the show, we need an explanation of how it works. Jason, could you come up here?
All right, so Trajectory Live, that's what we're calling this. And the way it works is it's all about impact. It's all about helping others, right? So it is a format where we have volunteers that will be coming up, and for 90 seconds will be able to give their insight, either a story or even maybe asking for advice or some sort of belief that they have based around the topic. And then essentially you have 90 seconds, and then our panel will be able to ask follow-up questions, either give their feedback. And that will happen for about 12 minutes total. So we're gonna have multiple speakers today that'll come up and give their insights. But not only that, at the end, the audience will be able to vote who made the biggest impact on them today. And then based on who wins that, will be awarded for today's biggest impact maker. So pretty cool. The first time we're trying this, so let's see how this works.
I heard a prize when they accumulate some type of points.
So this is the thing. It's going to be pretty cool because if you come to Trajectory, you're going to get some points just for showing up, but you can also participate and do all these cool things that we're doing. But at the end of the year, if you show up to all the events, if you win some of these awards, you're going to get even more points. And at the end of the year, whoever has the most points, and we're going to have a leaderboard, is going to receive a to be determined big prize, but it'll be worth it. If you know us, we'll make it worth it for sure, right? So Scotty's going to explain what today's focus will be on, and then we'll get going.
So we started out the day talking about an important matter to all of us, especially with Trajectory, and that's resilience. But in order for you to find out your resilience, you have to come face to face with your weakness. That's something none of us really like to talk about. We don't like to talk about our weakness. We like to talk about overcoming weakness, but we don't like to talk about our weakness. So today's topic is going to be your weakness and how you have seen your weakness. What did you do that showed you that you have a weakness? Was it comparing to someone else? Was it something that you didn't do what you thought you could have done? Was that you, I don't know. I guess it could go a lot of ways. This is an experiment. It might be too deep, but I don't think so. I think that whoever can do this, come face to face with it, is going to be able to show other people how to come face to face with their own weakness. So that's the idea. Now, whoever has the story, you're going to be, is judged a bad word?
Yes.
What's a better word for judged?
Just getting another perspective.
You'll be perspectived.
Getting
You're getting feedback. Okay, there we go. Now, we have our lovely panel here. So first, we have Marissa Herrera. And Marissa has been part of Trajectory for a long time, and I'm really interested to see what you have to say. Kanazi, I just call you Kanazi. I don't know your last name.
My real name is Eli, actually.
But
I'm under Kanazi.
But what would you rather be called?
Kanazi.
Do you want to have a last name with Kanazi?
Jalil?
So Kanazi Jalil.
Yes.
Kanazi J.
Or Kanazi J.
Kanazi J, that sounds better. So Kanazi J is an underground artist, right?
Yeah.
Hip hop artist, rapper extraordinaire. Yeah. And he spits wisdom. When he opens his mouth, he spits wisdom. So thank you, Kanazi J.
Yes, sir.
Amy, how are you doing tonight?
Good.
So is it Bernadine?
Burst some in.
See? You're right. I just wanted to make sure you got your name right. Bersamin. This is my second glass of wine. I'm okay. If it was my first, you could be mad at me. The second glass, it's not my fault anymore. So, and Amy has been doing, she came here from Hawaii.
And this is my second time here.
And her second time here, and she is a panelist, so good for you. Okay, now my question is, Jay, how are we going to select who's going to come up here? Are you going to just pull it out of the box? Okay, so he's got the box. Where do you want to do that at?
I was just gonna do here.
Okay.
This is recording right now, right?
Yep, it's recording.
All right, so another thing is everybody that's a panelist and everybody that is going to speak today, they put their names in as a volunteer, maybe a forced volunteer for some, but voluntold. But then we're pulling the names out of the box to see who goes. All right, so the first one, Tony Woods.
Everybody remember Tony?
All right, so let's see that, 90 seconds. And
Oh, wait a minute, wait.
Oh, he's got to start?
Don't start it yet. Don't start it yet. Okay, I got it. 90 seconds. Don't start it yet. Okay. Okay.
Question again?
And the question is, is
Resilience.
No.
facilitating weakness. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, what's your weakness?
How did you find your weakness? Something about it.
Okay. You ready, Tony?
No.
It's okay.
All right, we can't be waiting too long.
Okay. Yeah. I'm coming. I'm coming. Yeah, but this should have been first. I don't see. I see.
You're in the hot
I'm the test rabbit right here.
You're in
Okay.
the hot spot.
Okay. This is it. Okay, you can start it. Okay. Public speaking. It's the most feared thing on the planet. Right? And I am stumped, meaning the first person to share. So I can just say that this has taken me completely off guard, being unprepared to speak. The thing is I'm doing okay right here. I should be, but see, I'm glad the crowd is as a comfortable. What can you say? It's a comfortable environment and a fun-loving crowd of people. So I think I'm blessed in that manner that the crowd isn't hostile. So,
Not yet.
but I just wish it was. I had a more inapt. It's just this is totally from the hip right here. You know, I'm shooting from the hip. But I think that I made my 1:30 seconds. 1 minute 30 seconds.
Stay up there. So, Marissa, you want to say anything?
I was going to say, if your weakness is public speaking, you just accomplished it right now.
For me, like, if you got a certain weakness, I'm gonna say, like, don't give up. Like, even though you mess up, just keep going, brother. That's all I gotta say. Just keep going, even though you mess up. Just stay confident and trust God.
Wow. I second that. to just keep going, to just keep getting up there, not giving up. And did you overcome that weakness, or are you still struggling with it?
I'd like to be more prepared. Yeah, and I think that that's a key, is being prepared. I have another speaking engagement coming up, and I'm not quite prepared, but I'm. The thing is, like you said, you do it.
Yes.
You do.
Keep going. You just
You feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You recognize it.
Thank you, Tony.
Peggy, you're proud of your man. Woo! That's right.
So no. We still have to. We still get something to say too. Yeah. So, do you know what it feels like? Well, yes, I know you know because you just felt it. When you're standing, everybody's looking at you, and you don't know what to say, right? There's that moment. There's no escape. There's literally no escape. And what happens is, and this is good because standing up there and feeling that emotion that you're feeling, that feeling is exactly what is going to get you to become a better and more comfortable public speaker. So for you to come up here and do that, like, it takes balls, courage. I mean, I'm sure women, I don't have balls, they would do it and it would be good for them too, but it takes courage. And the fact that you did that, the more you do that, the better you're gonna get. And it's all about stage time. So the fact that you do it, kudos to you, man. Good job. You're the very first. You're a legend. You're a legend. You don't even know it.
No, I want to say that's a big deal to be able to just, like, even if you knew in your head that you wanted to be prepared, but you just still signed up, that's a big deal, right? But I'm just curious, do you consider needing to be prepared as a weakness?
Yeah, that would be, and that is actually a weakness. Then, be in relation to, in being put in position to speak, yeah, and not being prepared would be a setback or a roadblock for a person. So I will note that and work on it.
Sometimes the spontaneity, I don't know how to say it. Thank you, that one. Like in a relationship, if your partner isn't that way, it can be frustrating. So this exercise actually is helping our relationships because you stepped out of your comfort zone. And like when you love someone, sometimes you'll do stuff I wouldn't normally do this, but because you know that will make that person happy who makes you so happy, right? I'm relating it deeper than probably what it is, but it's important that you just did something that was spontaneous. And maybe you weren't prepared, but sometimes being overly prepared can drive somebody that's kind of wild like that crazy. So I'm proud of you because you could have said, no, I'm not rocking with it. You know what I mean? But you did do it, and that can help you develop as a person, no matter what age we are.
Maybe you want to skip me for this one. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for coming down. Yeah, everybody give it up for me. Yes, sir. Not much of a public speaker. I'm actually very shy and nervous right now. That's not true. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? What are we doing today? Weakness. Yeah, I don't have any, I don't think. Oh, my time has started?
We're starting, let's go.
Okay. Oh, wait, am I sharing a story? Oh, okay. So, hey, everybody, if you don't know me, my name is Oscar Garcia. Um, Weakness. That is an interesting concept. I guess we all have it, right? If you're a believer, you know that we all are human. None of us are perfect, right? We all have our flaws, and but it's important to get to know what those flaws are within us, because once we do, then we can take action to kind of just engage in that, so that we can move forward. In my case, that was when I migrated to this country, right? I didn't know any English, so that was kind of tough to navigate when I first came. I would consider myself someone who's very social. I like to know people, I like to talk to people. So when I didn't have the ability to have a proper conversation with anybody, it was really tough to get to connect with certain individuals. So I guess my story of resilience was when I was being very heavily bullied in school. I mean, I'm talking about like being tossed in the trash can. Like, for God's sakes, who does that? You know what I mean? And so, I tried very hard to, overcome that challenge. I literally had to neglect the Spanish language for a couple of years, and so really, focus on like reading books, watching movies in English with subtitles on, and all that jazz, until eventually, I am the way I am today, which I guess I'm doing a pretty good job so far, right? Yeah, this was 10 years ago, everybody. Give it for me, yeah! Shoot me those questions.
I was gonna say, as a mom of a son who struggles with bullying right now, I'm sorry that you had to adjust to lower something that you should have been proud of, to hide in order to feel accepted by society. And I'm really sorry about that, but I'm very proud of you, of who you are today, because now you get to decide who you are. But that was still also survival, and I'm sorry, because it sucks,
Hey, you know what, man? I also want to say I'm sorry for I like your story. I'm sorry for what you've been through. When you said that you got pushed into a
By
trash
the way,
can.
try not to speak too close into the mic. No, just probably like about,
No,
that's
I'm
perfect.
saying, yeah, thank you. But I like your story. And when you said that you got pushed into the trash can, I understand what it feels like to be picked on, because I remember in high school, I have high functioning autism. So, I remember when I got shoved into my locker and I got my shoes stolen and everything. And so, as you get older, as you grow up, you learn that you overcome that and you become a better person. And it doesn't matter what your past is. You can't stay in the past. You got to look to the present and realize, hey, you know what? I was that person back in the day before, but I'm no longer that person. And what you think of me now is not what I was before. And so you just got to learn to not give a fuck and just keep pushing, like I said.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
I don't want to go after him. As a mom like you, it breaks my heart that happened to you, because I know that if you were my child back then and you came home and told me someone put you in the trash, I'd probably be arrested, because I'd probably go in, yeah. Yeah. But that's so wonderful that you are able to do that, and I think that all of us, or most of us, have, we've had some sort of bullying experience. We may not have thought it was bullying, but it was some type of bullying. I remember when I was in the 6th grade, I was in Japanese school, and there was this boy, that would always tease me. And he just bugged me, and he would always get in my face, until one day I just pretty much stood up and I was ready to fight him. And ever since that day, he never ever bothered me again.
Which I did do one day, by the way.
So, I mean, I literally, I'm not going to say what I said to him, but kudos to you. Yes, I'm so proud of you that you are who you are today. And that's so wonderful.
I did stand up to them though. Like it used to be a little group, and then you feel empowered when you got your homies next to you and things like that. But don't let me catch you alone, But yeah.
So you ended up fighting the guy, or?
I just saw him on the street and I walked up to him and I was like, "What's up, guy?" Try to yeah, they switch up real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, man. It's like all fun and games, kinds of stuff. But I didn't really get down like that, so.
I wish that I never had that experience, right? But I did. Somebody tried to throw me in the trash can.
What?
It was several times but I was a cocky little person, and it was in my freshman year, and of course I was small or whatever. And so there was a bunch of big dudes that are like, "Oh, I can take this guy and put him in the whatever." It happens. It's unfortunate, but maybe that was payback for me being a bully in other contexts, right? So you were probably a dick somewhere else. And that was probably payback.
So is my time up yet?
But at the end of the day, it is, you go through that, and I think that, the coin has the heads and the tails. And you have to, I think our purpose in life is experience. And experience doesn't only come on one side, it comes on both. And you have to experience one, because sometimes the loss expands that capacity, but it expands it both ways. It doesn't only expand it in loss. So sometimes you have to be bullied to understand and to have the humility and have that discernment. And so because I was also same thing. So I think I was just, I look back and I'm like, man, that sucked. But then I look at other situations, I'm like, man, I probably deserved that. So not to say you did, but anyway, the fact that you came up here and talked about that in front of everybody, good stuff. And I think this will be good for all of us to talk about later.
What about my past? Hang on. That's crazy, bro.
All right. I guess the one question I just have is, it's unfortunate that happened, right? But it did mold you to who you are today. So do you wish it never did happen?
No, not at all. In fact, part of my prayers nowadays are, God, give me more challenges. Like, don't make my life easy, but just give me more challenges. I'm not being careful. Like, I'm saying it here into the mic. Give me more challenges. Whatever challenge is coming in my way, just give it to me, because you have to go through the fire in order to, become a nice, beautiful vase. And so, all those people that suffer the most are the ones that get excelled the most. So, that might be a bold statement, but hey, we only live once, and I don't want an easy life. So just give me the toughest of the challenges. I'm here, I don't back out. I'm a Mexican, not a Mexicant.
Mic drop. All right, awesome. Oh, we have the world famous Mr. Manuel.
Okay. Resilience. Before I was resilient, I was weak. And I knew I was weak because I used to mask it. There was fog, and the fog goes away, but I would mask it with alcohol and drugs. So that was my weakness. I always cover up. I lived my whole entire life just subconsciously just covering it up. So that was my weakness until I met these two guys named Scotty and Jay. I don't know if you guys know them. So recently, we're on volume 2, and I started getting into my weakness. And I found that if you let it out, that's like the ultimate. If you speak it, you start getting healing. And if you write it, that's a whole different level. So it's been a roller coaster for me. There was times where I didn't want to get into the story of volume 2. There was times where I wanted to, but I was able to finally finish the story last night, and I feel like by doing that, it overweighs everything else. So now that I'm resilient from my weakness. I'm in a healing process, and it's the ultimate. A lot of emotions, but at the end, I feel like I'm being pushed but held at the same time by being able to push out my story. And I feel like it's just a feeling like you just know that something from the bad is gonna just overweigh anything that possibly could stop it. And I don't feel nobody stopping me.
How has it affected your relationship? Do you feel way closer to your wife? Like, oh my gosh, like, maybe no one else understands and like you're drawing to her? Or do you feel, I'm sorry if that's too much of a deep question, but it's a lot.
I feel like she didn't give up on me. And now where I'm at in my life, we're the closest ever. Our relationship is like, I have her trust again. Because for a long time, I didn't have her trust. I couldn't be trusted. Be at the bars. I'm working late, but I was at the bars. And that went on for years because, once again, my weakness, I was hiding it. And so to answer your question is, yeah, it's gotten real. We've never been this close ever. Yeah.
Hey, Manuel, you know what, man? Like, it doesn't matter what you're going through, bro. I just want to say, like, you're like I said before, you always been a mentor to me and to everybody else, and it doesn't matter what you're going through. Like, try to, you try to make her understand that you're not what you used to be before. But I'm sorry, just how you say, keep continuing to be who you are. And keep being a mentor and keep being a brother, and just keep doing you. That's all I gotta say. Sure.
Thank you for that. I know it takes courage to bring it out of you and to speak it, and most importantly, to write it. My question is, how long did it take you to be resilient, like the process? How long was it?
How long did it take me to realize I was resilient? Was last night when I finished the book, volume 2. and now I'm going to put it out there for the world to hear and see and everything. So I'm resilient right now since of last night. I finished it, Peggy. I finished the book. And it's an everyday thing, but right now I feel resilient.
I would say that from where you are now compared to when we started doing this whole trajectory thing, when you showed up with the microphone in your back pocket and a little stereo that was like this big, right? From then to right now, you've made a tremendous change and improvement, right? But the reason that I'm saying that, not from where you are personally, because I don't know that, only you know that, but the way that I look at what you've done and the way that you're open with things and that you put it out there, because that to me is courage. Because especially when you are a man, right? We have certain expectations that we grow up with, that we're not supposed to cry, we're not supposed to show emotion, we're not supposed, we're tough, right? We're supposed to do that. But you are tough, but the fact that you were able to open up that emotion, to me, I have a tremendous amount of respect, because that takes way more freaking courage. I remember, so my dad, again, we all related to our own experience. My dad used to be a fighter, right? He used to get into all kinds of fights everywhere. And when I moved to South Tucson, I was a minority. I got picked on, right? I got whatever. My dad, we were driving around our neighborhood, and there was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 dudes, and they're like, yeah. And then my dad put it into like reflex, like that. And I tried to pick up this wine glass, and I got it too. It was really weird how that happened. But And then he gets out and he's like, right? And then he's gonna basically fight him. And then he comes back and he's like, he gets back in the car and then he's like, he's like, no, you know what? And then we drove off and he's like, you don't have to fight, right? It was a lesson for me, but he was talking to himself. And so because I was there, and sometimes when you don't fight is you're a bigger man than when you do. I didn't understand that, right? But I do. And so for you to let your emotion, your vulnerability, that's weakness, right? But you're allowing it for other people to see, which I think makes it evolve into not a weakness anymore. Now it's character. Now it's something that you can take pride in. Now that it's something that helps you become a better man and more discerning, and at the end of the day, able to help somebody else. And that's the whole point of Trajectory, what in my mind is how we can help others. If you don't look at yourself in the mirror for your weakness and who you truly are, how can you really help? And so this exercise, looking at yourself, you did it. I think you're a role model to all of us. Keep up the good work, man. I'm proud. Proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, you've always been an inspiration here, and you're like the poster boy for Trajectory. Like I mean, your story is like why we do this. You know what I mean? But I want to ask you, like, you're talking about the days of partying and drinking and drugs and stuff like that, and you kind of mentioned that was a weakness, right? For a lot of people, they don't see that as a weakness. That's like their strength, right? That's like how they show off. So at one point, like, how do you determine that that's a weakness, or when was it that you realized it was a weakness, so people can figure that out?
Because I was always covering it up by drinking. I was the one guy just getting plastered, blacked out every time. Like literally, I just would drink myself to cover up everything. So I knew it was a weakness my whole life because I was covering up, and I did it up until, recently. So that was my weakness.
You keep saying that all of that was a cover-up. What were you covering up?
It'll be on volume 2, but I can tell you because of this Trajectory. And we'll have to block this out till the book comes out.
You don't have to answer.
No, I'll answer it to you because everybody knows in the class. Most everybody knows. So we were doing Trajectory at DBZ's. And Brianna, she has a nonprofit organization for battered women. And she was talking about having speakers and all that stuff. I said, hey, my mom we grew up with my mom getting beat up. She had married this guy that treated her like a boxer. And I said, you know what, I would love to talk maybe about it. And we had just came off of Trajectory Volume 1. It hadn't been out, but I finished writing it, right? So I was like, oh, by next week Trajectory class, I'm gonna give my little speech so she can hear it. So when I do it for her kid, because she wanted to do it for the kids with the battered women and all that. And so I was like, I'm gonna write it like a book. Oh, you know what? Volume 2. Volume 1 hadn't even been out yet. I was like, I'm gonna write Volume 2. So when I started writing about my mom and her getting beat up all those years, that I had no choice but to dig into my childhood. And when I dug into my childhood, I realized that's what brought me my music, and that's why I still do it to this day. That was a cover-up. All my drinking up until 6 years ago when I sobered up, and just my whole entire life, even though I did music and all this other stuff, I wasn't really letting my emotions out when you're supposed to when you make music. So all these years, it was my getaway. So it was the alcohol, so it was the drugs, so it was everything. So when I went digging deep about my mom being battered, I had no choice but to think about what had happened literally previously, right before she met this guy. And at the age of like 7 or 8, I was sexually abused, so, and I had nobody to talk to. Nobody ever asked me, how you doing? Are you okay? So I could speak up. And I think that's one of the reasons why I feel like all this is happening, is because there's probably somebody out there who can't speak. Nobody's asking him how you doing, or her, how you been, or what's going on in your life. So I went from that to my mom meeting this guy getting beat up, so I hit it even more. when I turned 13, I got introduced to music, so that was like everything to me. My music just was everything. And then obviously the homies with the alcohol and everything, and I just it wasn't until recently when I let it all out. And it feels it's scary, but once again it overweighs everything. It's like, yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you guys. No, thank you guys for the platform. For reals, because you guys have I can't thank you guys enough. All of you guys, everybody, I can't thank you guys enough for what has transpired in my life the last year and a half, maybe? 2 years? No, a year and a half maybe? Yeah, and I never thought I'd be here, especially in the book, putting it out there. And like I said, it's scary and you feel all these feelings, but it overweighs it, for sure. I can't believe I'm speaking about it, writing about it, and we'll see.
Awesome.
So, thank you guys.
All right, so it's Amy. You go from there. Hey, can you get the?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, you can go over there if you can get out. Yeah.
Stand if I'm gonna talk. And can I just preface before the timer? And I feel like my throat is. So before you turn on your timer, I just want to preface by saying I didn't know this was what we were gonna do today. I mean, I was ready to do the ignite, and I had a topic in mind, and I was ready to come up here, and I was all fired up, and then you say you got to talk about your weakness, and I almost said I don't want to do it because speaking about my weakness is a weakness to me, but I'm not gonna talk about that as my weakness tonight. So one of my weaknesses is that I used to be a control freak. Total type A personality. Wanted to control my whole family. Control my husband. Control my son. Just control everything. Because if I controlled everything, I knew it would go the right way. My way. And that didn't go well a lot of times. Led to arguments. Led to a lot. And how did I break through? How did I know I was this control freak? Because my husband would tell me, and I'm like, no, that's not me. You know, I would get mad at the littlest thing if it didn't go right because they didn't follow what I said. And so how I realized this was a big problem was when I started teaching financial education 11 years ago. And the reason how I saw how it changed me is because I started hearing my clients talk the way I would talk. I would hear the husband, I would hear the wife, and I would go, oh my God, that's me. And so I started using that as, that's me, that's how I used to be. This is what my husband would say, and this is what I would say. So I think it so changed me as a person. And that's why teaching is really my passion, because I know that it changed me as a person. Thank you.
That is very, oh my goodness. You know how many women need to hear that? Wives, and that it's never too late to realize maybe this is something I need to take a look at. And kudos to you, Amy. Kudos to you, because you were able to take a look at it, be brave with it, change it to get closer to your family, and I'm sure the rest of your relationships of your family. So good job.
I just want to say, Amy, you know what? Thanks for your honesty. Thanks for being honest, because it takes a lot for one person to admit that they're wrong. and that to admit that they have a certain type of weakness. And I just want to say thank you for your honesty and thanks for being real, just keep it 100.
My mind's going in a bunch of different directions, but the biggest thing is I think you're right. I do think that is a weakness, because at the end of the day, we don't have control. Control is it's a mirage, right? Because you think you have the white picket fence, you think that you do everything right, and then you get hit by a car, right? You couldn't have planned for that. So I don't know. I don't have a lot to say except for I think that you're right on, and I don't even know what to say right now. So good for you, I guess. I'm sorry. You got me stumped. That was like, seriously.
Interesting. You stumped Scotty. That's a that's a rarity.
That was straightforward.
But two questions. So does it still pain you when it doesn't go your way? Like, even though you know that you should allow things to happen, does it still kind of hurt a little bit? And I guess what advice would you give to allow somebody who wants control all the time to give it up? What's the process look like to do that?
So no, it doesn't, because like I said, I started teaching 11 years ago. So I've had 11 years of knowing, talking to many different people, and it changed me as a person to be more patient. And while I say I want to be in control, I believe in God. I thought I trusted God. Obviously I didn't, because I wanted to control. I wanted to control everything. But I do a lot of praying. I do a lot of singing. And I've recently started joining groups. I never did that before. I go to church more often. I joined a women's Bible study, and I listen to books, and it's the letting go. So anytime, and don't get me wrong, I still get that, especially because starting a new business, working sometimes 7 days, and you feel like you're doing everything because you're so busy and it's not going how you want it to go. And so I really just have to say, I have to trust God and let go. Because He has a plan for you, and just trust Him. And as far as what I would say to people, get a grip on it. If you want, it's like get a grip on it before it's too late. I have a very loving husband. I've been married for 34 years, and I have to say that I'm so grateful that my husband always was there for me, even though I was not a nice wife sometimes, but he was always there for me. And I tell women, you may not have a husband like me, and really you're only hurting yourself, because that feeling of wanting to be in control all the time, you're only hurting yourself, because then you get mad at yourself because you're not in control. Then you spiral, right? And now it's not good.
I was gonna ask if maybe when you were younger, you felt like you didn't have control, or if you couldn't, like you should have been protected more.
Okay, are you going deep? Are we going really deep now? Because remember, anybody ever watch the Joy Luck Club? Was it that one? Mm-hmm. Where the Asian with the Asian kid playing the piano? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And an Asian parent that wants you to, I guess, be perfect. So kind of like that. I always felt like I don't really know if my dad really wanted me to be perfect, but I felt that. I felt like I had to be perfect in everything because I was the oldest. So I think, and I'm not sure if it's in my head, but I think that's what it was. Hey, this is really deep.
Well, we love you just for that.
He pulled it out.
All right. My name is Lena. I have been with Trajectory, I think, since we started. My weakness. Got a lot of those, but I think the biggest one that I've recently found is putting everyone and everything before myself. And for the longest time, I thought that was the noble thing to do. Being unselfish makes you better, worthy of love, acceptance, whatever. But what I've come to realize is it makes you more resentful, more bitter, and it's nobody's fault but your own. Because nobody asked you to do anything. You took it upon yourself to take that position, that job. And once you come to that realization, it's almost like a smack in the face because you feel like, what did I do all this for? And for who? And for what? And I wasted my life. And it's like, did you? So it's a battle within, but I think that weakness is what made me resilient. And I think realizing that was a weakness of my own. And I don't know, it's a little tricky because sometimes I see it as weakness, but sometimes I see it as strength. Because it can go both ways. It just depends on your perspective and how you look at it. But I choose now to look at it as Christ-like. And I choose now to look at it as being selfless and more loving and caring. And no, I did not waste my life. I raised 3 wonderful children. And I have a beautiful family. And I have so much to be grateful and blessed for. So that's what made me feel more resilient now, is to realize that same weakness was my strength. But I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to explain that more, but I hope you guys got it.
Well, I was going to say that whoever took advantage of that beautiful part of you, sorry, you know? I don't think it was anybody but myself. No, but I'm saying, like, I've seen men love that quality in a woman and never hurt that part of her. So all I'm saying is, on behalf of that, if you never heard the apology, I'm sorry on that behalf. Because I think that's so beautiful. And I think actually the feminine part of being a woman and bringing that into a household is super important. We're almost losing it. So I want to say thank you for opening that up and also having that introspective of, wait a minute, I have to own this. This was my life, and this is what I knew to do. And my children are the beautiful outcome of it, but I'm in the present. So good job, Lena.
Thank
All right. You know, all I have to say is just stay inspired and just be you no matter what. You know, just stay inspired and stay positive. And like I said, trust God.
Amen.
Amen.
I was smiling the whole time because that's also my weakness. So I'm like, I'm gonna have a lot to say, to you.
When you were talking, I can relate to.
That's why. That's the first time, like with.
I want to take a second and say something. I think a lot of when you come from a background of a very strict family, because I came from the Middle East and my parents are Jordanian. So my parents were very strict. It was to the point of arranged marriages, okay? So we didn't, if you did everything you were told, then we love you. If you were good, then you are loved. If you did your part, then you are loved. If you didn't, it could go as far as being killed if you're not a virgin, and or abandoned. So I think that's what causes a lot of that being perfect, being always in control, being selfless and making sure everybody's happy with you. And when you come to realize that and you realize, no, this is all the programmed crap that we had when we were children. And to let go of that, and that's why I wanted so much to talk to a lot of women who come from this kind of background. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just the Middle East. It's everywhere. It's in India, Africa, Asia, Middle Eastern. Anybody, and even, yeah, but go ahead.
No, I'm saying,
Yeah,
Everybody,
but
US,
and it's like
Yeah.
you can relate to so many people, but nobody wants to talk about that because it's almost shameful. And I was embarrassed to even say that my marriage was arranged. It was embarrassing. When people would ask me, "How did you meet your husband?" It was always a made-up story. Because it was embarrassing, because to me it was like, they're not gonna get this. They're not gonna understand this. They're gonna judge me. They're gonna think this of me. So it's very hard to grow up in America when you have all that baggage and all these restrictions. And talk about bullying, I was thrown in the trash. I was called a lesbo, a camel jockey, everything there was, because I wasn't allowed to talk to boys. Because we weren't allowed to do our brows or anything. So we looked like freaks in high school. But nobody understood that that's just our upbringing. And I could go on and on. I'm going to bore the shit out of you guys, but it's a lot. But when you realize now that they did the best they could as parents, they wanted, they thought it was for our best interest. And I kind of raised my kids in a similar way, even though I thought I would never. You can relate to that. Yeah.
And honestly, my daddy is my hero.
So was mine. So was mine.
Today, he is my hero. I would not be the person I am today without my dad. But what I really wanted to tell you, and like I said, you and I can totally relate. And as a mom, you want to do everything for your children. I have one son, and I pretty much, did everything. And I did that, where, you do everything, and then you get mad because it's like, oh my God, I did everything. And same thing, my husband would say, why did you do it? Don't do it if you don't want to. But you do it anyway. Who's going to do it if I don't do it? But that's how we are. But now, it's like you said, instead of looking at it like, why am I doing this, and being angry about it, it's like, I get to do this. I'm so blessed that I have a child, that I have a family, that I get to do this for.
Everything is
right. It's a blessing. Thank God. Right. Yes. So it's just a shift. Right. It's the mindset. Right. So instead of being upset, because I do that, instead of being upset, I say, thank you, Jesus. I get to do this.
Yep. Instead of I have to.
Yes.
Do I have to go after her? Whatever childhood you go through, you spend the rest of your adult life fixing the trauma, like no matter what, I came from the other side where it wasn't strict. Like, I got away with doing everything. My mom, my dad was never around. My mom pretty much let me do whatever. So me and my best friend would just basically disappear and get into all kinds of shenanigans, And then, but I always wanted my dad to be around, right? I always wanted that. So it left a different kind of issue with me. It was like I was trying to get the attention, right? And you guys had too much attention, so it was but both of us are fucked up.
I've come to realize you can talk to anybody you want. Any human being that breathes will tell you they had an effed up childhood, one way or another. Whether they came from a rich family, a poor family, a strict family, a non-strict family, a single mom, both parents, whatever. Because we as humans, I don't care how perfect we think we have it figured out, are gonna mess up as parents. So regardless of how much and what you do, you're going to make mistakes. And even if you don't, those children are going to make mistakes and then blame you for it later. But it's gonna happen. So that's why I keep saying and I keep reminding myself daily now, everything is a state of mind. How you choose to look at your day is your perspective. And if you choose to look at it in a negative attitude, guess what? It's gonna go to hell. But if you choose to take it as, like he said, Oscar, as a challenge, as an opportunity to grow, nothing can bring you down again, regardless of what you face, even if it's death. As far as I'm concerned, it just gets me closer to him. So, whatever. Bring it on. Yeah.
No, I agree with you what you said about everyone will complain about their childhood. I have a friend that's his parents are basically royalty, multi-millionaire, and he blames that he's not motivated and doesn't have the drive to succeed today because his life was so easy as a child. So you can look at it both ways. I'm like, there's no good answer. But I want to ask you, at the beginning you said that, you know, your weakness was like helping everybody, like giving so much, giving too much.
No, it was putting everyone before myself.
Putting everybody before yourself. Okay. So where do you think you can distinguish the line between basically where yourself exists and what, you know, and going over that line?
My peace. That's where I draw the line now. Whereas before, my peace didn't matter as long as everybody else was okay. As long as I fix this and I take care of this and I got this and I do this. Now it's my peace first. Look, if I can help you, I will give 150%. But if I'm just gonna waste my time with you and my peace and my energy, and I'm not making any difference because you've already made up your mind, I finally learned to just walk away and focus on where my energy and my peace can be beneficial. Can be, whether it's for myself or the people that I love. But I've done trying to bend backwards for people who don't want my help. And that's where you have to draw the line. You just have to, like you just said, there's times where you just have to dust off the dirt off your shoes and walk away because you can't. Another thing with control is you come to realize you cannot change anyone. Exactly. Nobody. I don't care who it is. I don't care how much they tell you they want to change. You can't change anyone. Only person you could change. Period. So when you get to that point, it's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. So I think you sacrifice so much of yourself, right? So much that now that weakness is power, and it's like the resilience part, right? Because now you know you sacrifice so much that you know who not to sacrifice for now because you did so much. So now it's in your mind like, I did so much, so now I get to choose my peace, like you said, right? So I think you doing that was a weakness that now is a power. It's like a superpower because you sacrifice so much of yourself that it's in your mind now, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna do that and pick and choose.
I think more so I find it so empowering now because I feel like with everything I have gone through, because everybody in here I'm sure has their own stories, but And I'm not here to say mine is worse than yours or yours is worse than mine, but everybody has their stories. But I can say that I've been through enough to know that I can help others. And that is very empowering to me now. Whereas before, I used to feel ashamed. Now I'm willing to talk about it if it makes you comfortable enough to open up your story so that maybe I can help you as well. Kind of like your story. So that alone is that's where you get that resilience and that empowerment, if you will, or that strength. But I found all of it, and I'm only speaking on my behalf here, through Christ. That's what changed my whole world around. I mean, I was always a Christian, because you're born, I mean, if you're born a Christian, you grow up as a Christian. We went to church, we did the norm. But I never really felt what it means to be a child of Christ. I never really felt that connection. And I don't think I would have ever experienced it if I hadn't gone through the hell I went through. Because it's only when you go through hell that you seek him. And sometimes I think that that's the reason we suffer, so that you can go back to him and you can look for him. And that's when you realize how much, whatever you've got, no matter how much money, no matter what you own, no matter what you have, who you know, doesn't matter. You don't got shit without him. And he wants you to know that. So he'll put you through hell so that you understand you still need me. And when you get to that point and you're on your knees and you feel that connection, it just changes your world. And I don't know why I'm so emotional. I'm sorry.
Lena, I just have this one thing to say. Like me, I got baptized recently. Like in 2024 of September, I actually got baptized. So like me, I was actually born a Muslim. I was born a Muslim. My biological father was a Muslim, and my mother was a Muslim. So when I was part of my religion, I remember when I first told my mother, like, hey, you know what? I'm no longer part of this religion. You know, I want to have my own thinking and my own way of life. And when I became a Christian last year, I actually gone through a whole lot of hell, and God showed me a lot of things. Like I actually ended up losing a job recently, and the first time I lost that job, I was like, man, you know what? I don't know what to do, man. I'm a loser. I'm screwed. But you know what? You have to realize that once you lose something, you got to take it as it happened for a reason. Take it as a blessing. So once I realized that I lost something, I told myself, you know what? I'm glad I got in trouble for that one mistake, because doors are going to open. And you have to realize that God is going to open doors for you no matter what you do. As long as you put your sorrows in God and leave your problems to him, he will open the doors for you no matter what. And you're going to go through a lot of hell. People are going to criticize you, you know, especially when you came from the Muslim religion. You know, I got a lot of criticism, but I kept moving no matter what. And you just have to tell yourself, like, you know what? It doesn't matter what you think of me. The only person that can be my judge is God. Not you, not Judge Mathis. Only God can be the only judge. Not Judge Mathis, not Judge Judy. So that's all that matters. And you're on the right path. You know, you're gonna see some shit, but that just means that you're on the right path. And I've been there. I'm going through it right now, so I understand where you're coming from. And continue with your journey and stay blessed. You know?
Thank you. All righty. Are we done?
Howdy, y'all. This work? Hello, I'm Romero Northcutt. I've only been part of this for, 2 months? Welcome, y'all. We're here to talk about weakness. I don't know. I guess we're all on the spot today. So as far as weakness goes, I think one of my biggest weaknesses is, for the longest time, I thought it was my biggest strength, because I'm very passionate. I'm an extremely passionate person. With everything that I do it 150%, like you were saying, I push myself, and I tend to push others away. I tend to, go in things so hard and heavy that, I get even excited at times, and it tends to backfire on me, where whether I'm working and I'm trying to get clients, or I'm volunteering at the Legions and things may not be going how I feel they should be, and I'm trying to work and trying to help veterans and get things going and help people get their benefits, and people may not agree, and I'm butting heads with people, butting heads with fellow officers and fellow people I volunteer with, and I get kicked out of my own post, for instance. So yeah, like we were saying, it's a double-edged sword. I think sometimes our biggest strengths can also be our biggest weaknesses. And that's what I got.
You get in your own way, huh? I'm very familiar with that. I kind of feel like Chris Farley on Tommy Boy when he's like, I take a project and I stuff it and I love it and I overdo it and I kill it, right? No, I can relate to that a lot. When I dive into something, I go all the way, and I can neglect things that really need my attention. And so I'm just relating to you. I don't have advice or anything. I'm probably needing that word for myself. So thank you.
Yeah, I think I said too much, but you know what?
You got it.
When you said that, you try too hard, or you push too hard. You know what? We're all in the same boat, and sometimes we all beat ourselves down. But when you beat yourself down, no matter what, try to lift yourself back up. Understand that you have a purpose, and you have a passion, and you have a heart of gold. And man, just stay positive. I mean, yeah, stay positive.
Thank you.
Yeah, so being passionate, I totally get that too. But what I find, like when you say you butt heads with fellow officers and other people, before you do anything with them, do you ever try to explain who you are, set the expectations, that way they know who you are, they know the expectations? I mean, do you do anything like that?
Always try to communicate, always try to, again, sometimes people don't see things the same way, and sometimes people don't want to see things the same way. And that's where the headbutting can come in, because it's not so much always a disagreement. It's just, people like things the old way and a certain way because it benefits them more, and I don't see it that way. So it's just, sometimes people aren't going to disagree, and the Legions are there for a reason, and they're there to support people and help people. They're not there to be a bar for certain people and their friends. And that's very specific.
Because I always think that people come from all walks of life.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's like how I used to always tell my son, you can't I should tell me too. You can't expect people to understand your point of view unless they've experienced what you've experienced. So it's really hard, and I had to always tell that to myself, especially when you lead people. I always would have to ask, how can I help you, and try to find out about the person, try to find out their background, and again, and it could also be because of that day, like, what other people, we don't know what it's like in their life. They could be, right, we could make like everything is fine, but it's really not. But then when they deal with people, that comes out. But thank you for sharing.
Thank you
your
for that
story.
advice. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just. Sure.
I'm just going to say it the way I see it. Do you think that sometimes we confuse passion with control?
Oh, there's definitely, when Amy was talking about control, there's definitely a part of, a lot of trying to control things, I definitely have my battles of trying to relinquish that control to my higher power and trying to give that up, and daily battles with that. Yeah, so I definitely.
That's all I just wanted to say. I just wanted to make sure you see it in that way, because a lot of times we disguise control with passion and for the right reason. And
we
really,
think we're right.
And really, if you dig down, it's just about having control of everything and situations and people and everything else. And if you've been in, the military or whatever, a lot of times that's something that you have to really consider and work on. And it is a struggle. And let me tell you, I struggle with control just as much as she does. But the easiest way to relinquish that control is when you surrender it. And only when you surrender it. That's the only time you will get that release. But that's just.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
The first time I ever met Romero, he had 2 black eyes. I was drunk. Okay, I thought it was 2, whatever. So don't mess up my story, man. But no, but that to me, some of the proudest moments in my life is when I had black eyes, because that means I did something, right? And when you do something, sometimes you get hit in the face, right? Even Mike Tyson says, we all have plans until we get hit in the face, right? But the fact that you wear that with pride, to me, I have ultimate respect for. Like, some of the most proud moments, I can tell you, the most proud moment that I can remember, it was a tournament, a wrestling tournament. It was a huge freaking wrestling tournament. I took the tournament, but there was a picture taken, and I had 2 black eyes. And it was like, badass, right? I'm looking back like, man, I did something because I had black eyes. And so, and there's other stories. I got a lot to, and I know you do too. Especially military stuff, there's a lot of things. But it's sometimes when you're more aggressive, it's not a good thing for other people, right? Because they don't like that. It's an intimidating thing. And so then you have to ask yourself, well, do I let off of who I am because somebody else is, not taking it the right way? And maybe sometimes the answer is yes, but what if you need to go harder? What if you can go harder? What if you're stopping where you're supposed to go because of something external, when inside you're saying, no, I got more, but you pump the brakes and you're not supposed to? Because what if that person, or what if that voice inside of your head is God, and it's saying, let's see what you can do, son. Yeah, go ahead. Anytime you expand your horizons, there's going to be growing pains. So I think you're badass. I talk shit to you because I know that you can handle it, but I do that in it's like a term of endearment, not like because I actually think that you're a dumbass. No, because honestly, but I look up to you, brother, and I think that you keep up the good work. And if there's ever anybody that we got to go beat up, you just let me know, and I'll be there for you. I'm just kidding.
Thank you. I just want to say on that, I definitely have that battle internally a lot where it's, am I going too hard on this? Am I pushing this? I seem to be on one side of this and it seems like everyone else is on the other. And, I just got to ask myself, a mentor taught me a word that I love because, I'm big on my language. He taught me discernment, and just really having faith. And when I know I'm doing the right thing, I just got to stick to it. And sometimes when it's you against the world, you just want to give up. You don't have that, strength, and you just gotta push through it. And it may be me against my entire post right now, going for it. I just know what's right and what needs to be done, and
You're not alone.
I appreciate that.
You're not alone. Trust me, you're not. I think everybody in this room can relate to you. I know I can.
So I think like passion, all that really means that what you're doing is important to you. And if it's important, how far will you go to protect that idea? If you're willing to protect that idea, then you're going to get into fights because people want to protect their idea, right? So if it means a lot to you, you'll go as far as getting a couple black eyes to protect your ideas. But in today's day and age, I think passion is being lost. Especially younger generation, like you want them to get passionate about stuff. So don't lose the passion because I think that's really the only thing that's going to make everybody, push forward through everything.
Just make sure that it is passion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So we're going to do one more. Peggy?
I like to be in control, so I'm grab the mic, right? Okay. The night fell, and so did the confusion. It rolled in like a flood. Have you ever had to take care of someone that you love and it had Alzheimer's? Well, that was me. He was my father. I was his daddy's girl. And now I was taking care of him. But the weakness came when I became angry. I was mad at him because this strong individual was no longer strong, and I couldn't believe that he couldn't do better. But I had to do better because I hated the way I felt. So I went to God and he told me that I was fearful. My weakness was fear. But my strength came from a scripture, perfect love casts out fear. What is perfect love? How do I get this perfect love, I wondered. And the Lord told me to just stay in the moment with him, enjoy every moment you have, and don't be fearful of losing him. Just spend the time with him. There it is.
I like what you said. And when you said don't be fearful, but spend time with God, that encouraged me a lot because like before, I didn't really believe in him like that. But at the same time, I had a fear of him. And so once I came to realize that everything that we do, he's always going to be watching us, and he's always going to be the only judge. But no matter how many mistakes that we make, no matter how much you fear him, he's always going to love us. And we're all I gotta say is that we're all not perfect. We're all human, And so don't ever feel ashamed of whatever mistakes that you made or whatever battle that you go through. Don't feel ashamed of it. Take it as inspiration.
The fear was of losing my dad. I was fearful of losing him, so I didn't know why I was angry. I was angry because I had fear, and love cast out fear. So I learned that lesson.
That's good.
Is your dad still alive? Is your dad still alive?
He passed away, and it was a preparation, I think, for that, because I was able to say that I spent time with him, quality time. He went with me everywhere. I went on the tennis court, all my friends knew him because, I had to, kind of keep an eye on him. And so I think God was preparing me for the time that he would pass away. And so I knew I would have had that quality time.
So you were actually blessed because you were given the time to spend with your dad, right? I mean, you had to take care of him, but you were able to be there and take care of him and spend the quality time, where so many times we don't get that, right? We don't get that time, especially when we have parents that are older and we're far away from them. That's my biggest fear, is that my dad, who's in Hawaii, that I always pray that I would have the time to be there whenever the time comes. So I think it's just that at least you were able to spend the time with him. And the angry part, I can totally relate, because it's like, okay, you had this father that took care of you, that was strong, this strong man, and all of a sudden, why can't he remember? Like, why can't he remember things, and why, right? So I totally get that, but for you to realize that and the love took over, I mean, that is really up there through, right? So that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
So I think that this story is a good example that reminds us that time is fleeting and temporary, and strength is temporary, because we're all going to be in a similar situation. We might not have Alzheimer's, but we're all going to lose everything that we have. We have strength, we'll lose our strength. We have sight. I'm already starting to lose my sight. I have to do this when I read. and I think that your dad represents a gift. That is the gift of, like Romero said, discernment. Because what you thought was this, and that made a very strong impression on you, who made you who you are today. And it is those relationships that we have that are strong in that manner that shape us to who we are. Because you can't shape a diamond unless you have something very, very, very strong, right? So it was a gift of strength that he had that shaped you of who the person that you are. So I think your dad is awesome, and I think the love, the respect, the admiration that you had for your dad is awesome for him, but it speaks volumes about yourself. So whatever that's worth.
Yeah, Peggy, thank you for the story. One thing I want to try to kind of point out, it's interesting because, we got fireworks going right now. But it's interesting because Trajectory is not a religious group, right? Everybody from different religions come and have different perspectives, but a lot of the stories that we've heard today and the advice had a lot to do with faith, and yours included. So, and it's just interesting. I think that your faith and your higher power shows you your weaknesses, but also gives you the tools to find the strength. And yeah, I want to thank you for sharing that.
I want to say something to Peggy. Peggy, your weakness helped my wife out. I know I told you before, but I'm going to say it to everybody else. So my wife read everybody's volume 1 story, right? Or everybody's chapter. And her grandma's in a home, or in a home, right? Okay, so the home. So her grandma's in a home, and her and her aunts have felt bad for putting her in there. And your story helped her, and then she told her aunts about your story, and now they don't feel so bad having professional care for them because they were feeling bad because they had her in there. But after your weakness, which is your story, right? And how, so it helped them. So your weakness of what you thought was a weakness is helped my wife and her aunts hearing your story, and now it's very, very strong in their life where they feel.
Beautiful because the chapter I wrote was learning how to let go. And so I had to let him go. And like you said, because I learned to let him go, your family member was able to be relieved of guilt because of that. So we never know, wow.
Keep moving.
I'm gonna get off the stage now.